She had a dream long before she had him, a quiet, stubborn dream she never spoke too loudly about, because every time she did, someone smiled politely and said, "Be realistic." Her name was Lena, and she wanted to be a filmmaker, not for fame, not for money, but because stories were the only place she felt fully alive. She stayed up late editing videos while the city slept, her laptop light reflecting in tired, hopeful eyes. She believed that if she worked hard enough, one day her voice would matter. Then she met Ethan on an ordinary afternoon in a coffee shop. Nothing cinematic, just two strangers sharing a table. He was calm, confident, grounded, the kind of man who knew exactly where his life was going. When he asked her what she did and she said she made short films, he smiled and asked what her real plan was. She laughed it off, but something inside her shrank a little. They started dating anyway because he was kind, because he listened, because being with him felt safe, and slowly safety began to replace fire. At first, the sacrifices were small. She skipped a workshop to attend his work dinner, postponed a project to spend more time together, told herself love is about compromise, right? Ethan never told her to quit her dream. He didn't need to. He just questioned it gently, said things like, "Dreams don't pay bills. You work too much on this stuff. Stability matters." And without realizing it, Lena began editing less, filming less, dreaming less. Until one night, an email arrived at 2:14 a.m. She had been accepted into a film program abroad, full scholarship, a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Her hands shook as she read it. This was everything she had worked for. She ran to Ethan, heart racing, expecting excitement, pride, happiness. Instead, he went quiet, then asked, "So what about us?" Long distance would be hard. His job couldn't move. He needed stability. He said calmly, "I don't think I can do long distance." And in that moment, Lena felt something crack. She looked at the email again, then closed the laptop. "I won't go," she said, and she meant it. At first, life continued normally. They moved in together. Routines replaced passion. Her camera gathered dust. Lena laughed less, felt less. When she saw interviews, films, success stories, she felt jealousy mixed with shame. Ethan noticed, said, "You're different lately." She said she was tired, but she wasn't tired. She was empty. Resentment didn't come screaming. It came whispering. Every small argument felt heavier. Every sacrifice replayed in her mind. "I stayed. I chose you." When Ethan once said, "You're being dramatic," something broke. Not because it was cruel, but because it was careless. One night alone, Lena opened her old files, watched her early films, saw a version of herself that was alive, fearless. She cried, not because she missed the dream, but because she missed herself. The next morning, she packed a bag. Ethan watched silently. "Are you leaving me?" he asked. She paused. "No," she said softly. "I'm coming back to myself." She didn't leave angry. She didn't leave blaming him. She left honest. "I don't blame you," she said, "but I disappeared trying to fit into your life." Starting over was terrifying. She was older now, behind others, but for the first time in years, she could breathe. She picked up her camera again, not to chase success, but to feel alive. Months passed. She worked small jobs, filmed at night, doubted herself constantly, but something inside her was growing again. One day, she uploaded a short film she almost didn't publish, raw, imperfect, honest. It didn't go viral, but the comments mattered. People said, "This felt real. This felt like me." Lena realized then that dreams don't always die loudly. Sometimes they fade quietly while we're busy loving someone else. And love that requires you to erase yourself is not love, it's survival dressed as sacrifice. If you're watching this and you feel yourself shrinking to keep someone else comfortable, remember, choosing yourself is not selfish. It's the only way to stay alive. She had thought she knew what love was until she gave up her dream. Months passed since she left behind the scholarship, the film program abroad, the chance she had waited years for. Lena tried to convince herself that stability was better, that love was worth the sacrifice. Yet every morning she woke up feeling a tiny piece of herself missing, a void that no coffee, no walk in the park, no movie night with Ethan could fill. Friends started noticing the change too. "You seem quieter," her closest friend said one evening as they shared a quiet corner at a cafe. Lena forced a smile, nodding, saying, "I'm fine, just tired." But the truth was, she wasn't fine. She was lost. Her creativity, once a roaring flame, had become a faint flicker. Every idea that crossed her mind felt half-hearted. Every project seemed too heavy to start. She remembered the nights spent editing in her small apartment, headphones clamped over her ears, heart racing with excitement at the stories she could tell. Those nights felt like another lifetime. One rainy afternoon, while walking home from work, Lena noticed a small cinema tucked between two office buildings. The marquee read, "Short Films Night. Submit your story." Her heart thumped. The thought of submitting something, anything, made her feel alive again. That night, she dug out her old files, the projects she had abandoned, the scripts she had never filmed. She stared at them, fingertips trembling, the old camera lying on the shelf like a forgotten friend. Each frame, each line of dialogue reminded her who she used to be. And suddenly she realized the sacrifice she had made, the love she had tried to nurture at the expense of her own dreams, had dimmed a part of her that could not be replaced. The next day, she attempted to bring up the idea with Ethan. I want to submit a short film, maybe for this event. It's been years, but I want to try again." Ethan looked up from his laptop, his expression neutral. "Are you sure you have time for that? Work is busy. I thought you were done with these things." Her heart sank slightly. The familiar pattern emerged, the subtle doubt, the unspoken discouragement. But this time, Lena felt a spark of defiance. She realized that she didn't need permission anymore. She didn't need approval to be herself. That night, she uploaded her film online, raw, imperfect, full of the emotion she had buried for so long. The response was small at first, a handful of views and likes, but each comment carried weight. This felt real. I felt the same. "Thank you for sharing." For the first time in years, she smiled genuinely, feeling her heartbeat sink with the passion she had almost lost. Weeks later, she confronted Ethan, gently but firmly. "I can't keep living for someone else's stability. I need to chase my own life too." Ethan was silent, looking at her with a mixture of surprise and understanding. He had never realized how much Lena had dimmed to accommodate him. That evening they talked, long into the night, honestly, openly. It wasn't about blame, it was about truth. She had learned that love could not thrive on self-erasure. True love, for oneself or another, required authenticity, vulnerability, and courage. Months turned into a year. Lena began attending workshops, connecting with other filmmakers, submitting more short films, and finding joy in the process rather than obsessing over recognition. Her story, her voice became stronger, sharper, alive. She remembered the pain of what she had lost, but she no longer defined herself by it. The heartbreak, the sacrifices, the quiet resentment, they had been teachers, not chains. And when she glanced at her old camera, now polished and ready, she smiled. It wasn't just a tool for filming, it was a symbol of survival, resilience, and reclaiming oneself. If you're watching this and you've ever sacrificed a piece of yourself for someone else, remember, your dreams matter, your voice matters, your life matters. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is the only way to honor the person you are meant to become. Love can be beautiful, but never at the expense of your soul.